Hi everybody, we're back. Okay, so use an example here, and let's see, we've got these called y's. Let's call them x's as they should be for this exercise. Note that sometimes, depending on the book you're using, statistics books will sometimes they'll mix up whether they're talking about x sub I or y sub I. And there's a good reason for arguing both of these. There's a tradition of using x sub I as an individual observation, and there's a newer tradition of using y sub I since it applies to a measurement on the y-axis. But rest assured, we're talking about the same thing. So if you see that in different texts, don't worry about it. It's just a different standard convention. In either case, an x sub I is referring to an individual measurement. So last time I talked about how an x sub I could be any observation. Here I've got 11 observations. So we could call this, before we called this, we said, what if we were measuring bird beak size? Okay, we've got our bird here. This one has longer wings. Man, great feet. It's going to need 2 feet there. Tail feather. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so let's say we're going to measure beak size on an individual bird, and we've gone through and maybe this is in, I guess it could be millimeters, but we've gone through and we've taken 11 different measurements, maybe of 11 samples. For each one, we have an actual measurement that we can work with. And if we add up all of these 11 numbers, we find that if we divide the sum of all these 11 numbers by 11, we end up with an average of 5.82. So 5.82 is our average value. Great. As a note, the median, which of course is the middle number in this sequence, in this case would be 6. And so the median and the mean are not always exactly the same. It turns out most statistics have not been calculated using the median. And so a lot of our parametric statistics are going to be calculated based on the mean, so that's going to be a more important number for us. If we want to know about variance in this population, we'll remember that variance was equal to the sum of the squared y sub I minus, or x sub I, sorry, minus x bar values divided by, we're talking about sample variance now, n minus 1. In our case, let's draw out what this actually means. This means we're going to take 3 minus 5.82 squared plus 3 minus 5.82 squared. So we took this one, then we took this one, now we're going to take this one, plus 4 minus 5.82 squared plus 5.82 squared, minus 6 minus 5.82 squared. And you'll see this is getting redundant, but I'm just going to write it all out for all of us so we can see what we're supposed to be doing. So we did 5, we did 6 twice, we've got to do 6 2 more times. Then we've got to do these last numbers here. Okay, we have all 11 numbers here. Put these in square brackets. This represents the summation portion of that equation. And then we're going to divide this whole sucker by n minus 1, which, remember, that was 11 was our n minus 1. In other words, 10. So by doing that, we'll get the entire sample variance. So go ahead and try it yourself.